contract the outside fiction that we put into Jump Point and into Spectrum Dispatch. Dave Haddock had been writing all of that. If you notice, he's been doing some wonderful things with the fiction, and he's supposed to be writing a game, and they said, go find somebody else to write the fiction. So that first story is by Doug Niles. Doug is an absolute consummate industry veteran. He's done a lot of Dragonlance and other Dungeons and Dragons material. He's done some alternate World War II novels. He's done some actually board game design for some of the Tom Clancy books. He knows what he's talking about, and the folks coming behind are great as well. The story that just started releasing today on the feed is by Timothy Brown, who has been around as long as I have. He's done a lot of Traveller work. He's done a lot of, now I'm drawing a blank. He has done work on several other systems, several other massive online games, in fact. And he has a good story for us as well.
Yeah, I like this one a lot.
And then we break in a new, one of the unheard authors, a new author for next month's Jump Point. And as soon as Tim's finished, we have a Spectrum Dispatch series coming from Rob Waters. So Rob Waters is doing the Spectrum Dispatch after Tim, and Griffin Barber is doing the Jump Point. That's too long an answer. What else?
Well, what's our next brochure?
What's the next brochure? I'm not an authority on that.
It has been changing.
It has been changing. I will say Hornet, and you'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. It is the Hornet. Next brochure is the Hornet.
Hornet.
And so we'll convince you all that the Hornet is the best ship ever, and then we'll do the Freelancer, and then we'll do the Constellation. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. And I think the Hornet's coming out the weekend I'm getting married, so somebody else is going to have to be the one who takes care of that late tonight, Friday.
Are we going to see brochures for the limited ships?
Yep, someday. Not before the hangar.
Yeah, the first 5 brochures are the 5 basic ships. I know that much.
Yeah, Chris has promised brochures for the other ships, but they're further in the future.
And maybe we won't release them the same day as the commercial, so nobody pays any attention to them. That commercial was sweet.
Yeah, that kind of blew the brochure away.
If it makes you feel better, I've read the brochure as many times as I've seen that commercial.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Yes. Don't believe everything you read either.
Well, of course, it's marketing after all. Double marketing.
That was an interesting experience, pretending to be a BMW salesman to write that brochure. I was kind of broke my head for the rest of the day after I was coming up with those captions.
I was trying to explain to some people how marketing tried to sell things, and this is a company within Universe trying to practically sell you a car per se. So approach it that way. Buzzwords, different words that people can say and get away with it, even if it has a different meaning. So.
One of the really neat things about the brochures, when Chris first came to me and said, let's do a brochure, and I went off and I found some wonderful futuristic fonts. Some science fiction fonts, something a little, one of them was a little reminiscent of the Star Trek, and some really sweet fonts. And I came back to Chris and I said, how about these? He said, none of them. He said, make it modern. The ship will sell the fact that it's science fiction. And otherwise, it's just regular text. And he's right. But it makes it much more believable. If the whole thing were in some sort of science fiction, you wouldn't believe it.
It'd be cheesier.
Yeah.
I think if you want an example of the impact that David Ladyman has in this process, take a look at our original brochure for the Constellation we did during the last live stream and compare it to the Aurora and the 300i, and you will see what he adds to the table.
Thank you. Sure, what he says.
It's a cool brochure, but it's nowhere near as cool as it is the 2 he's worked on.
Are we going to see those kind of company sell videos per se on other ships other than the 300i? Those look like a lot of effort.
I'm not sure if we're allowed to promise that yet, but yes we are. Maybe not day and date again. It was a lot of work making those both happen at the same time. So we'll see.
A lot of the work is that the ships were just barely ready in time. If we could have gotten ahead, and it sounds like we're doing a brochure on a ship that's already finished, that makes it just a little easier.
Hopefully. There's a guy who does the commercials, Hannes Apfel in Germany. He also did the pitch video, so he has a lot of work from other people, and so his schedule's limited. We will grab him when we can, and we definitely want to do more commercials. In fact, you may see some more commercials later tonight if you
stick
stay up
around.
a while.
That's a maybe. It could just be a ploy, could you just stay up all night?
Maybe.
Completely destroy whatever you had planned for tomorrow.
All you nerds here watching us on Friday night.
What are you doing? Go outside.
So tell us how you got here.
How I got here. I started at Origin Systems about 2 months after Wing Commander 1 released. I wish I could say that I was part of that whole thing, but I wasn't. In fact, it was just after Wing Commander 1 and Ultima 6, which are both iconic games. But I came on with Origin, and then I was the publications editor there, which meant that anything that went out the doors I was involved in. My team did the manuals, did the game guides, did the install guides. Back in the day when you had to do a 28-page install guide to get a game loaded.
So those manuals were famous for having like fiction in the manual,
Yes.
right?
And we did, in fact, show and tell time. We did have some of that.
No way.
But that's a James game.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't care about that. Here's an install guide. Took this much to tell you how to get the game loaded. Wasn't as bad as Ultima 7, where you had to stop your computer and reboot it to a new operating system because the current 386, 486 operating system was just not good enough. You have
Editing your boot disk, wow.
editing the boot disk. Voices of War. This was for Wing Commander Armada, and it had letters from the soldiers, the Confederation Oath of Service. Had a letter from a kid, a 3-year-old, writing to her dad, asking him when he's going to come home. I'm left-handed, and I wrote that right-handed to make it look like a little kid.
Oh, nice.
But commander's logs of the whole process, and various others. Yes, we tried to put it into the fiction of the game because we figure if you're reading the manual, it's because you want to be more immersed in the game.
So we're getting awesome stuff right now with regards to the fiction and the brochures. Are we going to get a Star Citizens manual of similar caliber with in fiction stuff?
It's gonna be like this
Absolutely.
thick.
It won't be that thick,
No Janes.
but Chris promised 4 to 6 pages on Jump
Installation.
Point.
Jump Point, yeah.
This one's 56. He's promised 42 pages on the manual. It may be longer.
Are you gonna have it like when you boot up the game in order to verify your authentication? You have to go to a certain page, and look the certain paragraph.
Absolutely, that's one of the best mechanics ever devised for making sure that you haven't bootlegged the game. No,
It just annoys the pirates so much they don't want to play.
yes. Oh, but I came on as publications editor. I built a wonderful team, and the folks who are aware of these materials know Melissa Tyler, Tuesday Phrase, Chris McKevin, and Jennifer Spohr, and they went out and did a great job on the documentation. In '97, we broke off and became Ink and Monkey God Studios, and named ourselves after a Dilbert comic strip. And we started doing game guides and documentation basically for the massive online games. So for EverQuest, EverQuest 2, Atron's Call 2, Dark Age of Camelot, and several subsequents, Star Wars Galaxy several times over, et cetera, et cetera. And it came around to when Chris announced the game, I happened to be standing nearby. And actually, I told a story that may have helped. Richard Garriott was there, and I said that Chris is my favorite producer of all time. And Richard challenged that. And I said, well, for me, it was because at that time, the documentation had to be done and printed. To do one of these, it took 3 weeks. To do a disc, it took 1 week. So the disc could be 2 weeks later than when this went into the printer. And we often had to make stuff up as far as what to put in the manual. And I went to Chris and said, we need to know the install process because it's about to go to press. And he said, write what you want to, and we'll install it that way. And I said, yeah, that's my kind of producer. But then right after the last live feed, not right after, on December 20th, Thursday morning at 12:30 in the morning, Chris sent me an email and said, I need this done, and can you make it happen in the next 40 hours? So we made the first jump point in 40 hours. There was a lot of material already. Ben had written material for it and other things, but we got a jump point done in 40 hours, and I'm getting to do jump one after that.
So you're doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I
Thank
love
you.
the jump points.
It's fun. It's as long as people are enjoying reading it, then it's going to work for me.
What I remember most, one of the things I remember most about Wing Commander 3 is opening up the box, and then there was this pamphlet in there about if you were on the carrier, what you would read and what you would see and stuff. And it was nonsense stuff that meant nothing, but it was trying to give you that feel that you're actually on the carrier.
Yeah, you've got that in.
Say it's almost forgotten.
Yeah, that probably is in there.
Yeah, I was shocked because I picked up Wing 3 on GOG and just like having
Wing
like
3
5
stuff.
different PDFs of all this different stuff.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just saying hi to my little brother Tyler.
You guys have seen this, right?
Yeah.
This is a.
Yeah.
Actually, Hershey's candy
That's,
bar.
oh, that's the chocolate bar, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice.
5 pounds of Hershey's chocolate. We'll get it online here in a minute.
How much did
Hey,
they
you gonna
pay Chris
sell that
to
in the
model
store?
for that?
Huh?
You gonna sell that online?
I know.
And this is the Wing Commander Confederation Handbook. It is the book about the movie Wing Commander, with and it again is written in fiction.
Ben knows everything.
It's news releases from the game. It is dossiers on the pilots in the game, in the movie. I'm sorry, and ship descriptions and the fiction, and we had a lot of fun putting that together also. Yes, it's a cool book.
So why does half of it not in color?
Because it is cheaper, imagine this, to print in black and white than it is in color. So, yes, I didn't flip to the pages in the back there in black and white. We had it's sort of just a discussion with the publisher on how much of it to make in color, how much of it to make in black and white. Now, one other thing here. That is my official Wing Commander.
Whoa.
I will take that home. I'll take it
Fogger
off.
jacket, yeah.
I'll take it off.